Today on Monkey Life. Vet Nick uses high-tech diagnostic equipment to examine health issues in some of the park's smaller primates.
Look at that. So you can see there's areas of inflammation everywhere, actually.
And comes across more than one area for concern when he moves on to Patas monkey Penelope.
Oh my goodness, she's got some horrible teeth. So we'll come back to look at those properly in a bit.
Also today, a new puzzle motivates the Stumpies to scale new heights. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I'm shocked. This animal is living in fear of its life at all times.
The park provides a home for more than 260 primates from 25 different species. Six months ago, Alison rescued a number of primates from Borth Zoo in Wales. Most arrived with ongoing medical conditions. Today, two of them, Louis, a female capuchin, and Penelope, a Patas monkey, are to undergo a procedure normally associated with human patients. Specialist equipment is being set up in the park's hospital, overseen by wildlife vet Nick Masters.
We're trying out some endoscopy equipment, and obviously we've got the big screen. They very kindly brought that stack along for us so that we can see exactly what we're doing. Everybody can see what I'm doing, and try and work out what's going on.
First up is Capuchin Louis. She's been regularly regurgitating her food and hasn't put on as much weight as the team would have liked since arriving. They suspect she has a problem with her digestive tract. A course of drugs did seem to improve the situation, but when that was finished, the problem reoccurred. Nick is going to take a look inside her esophagus and stomach with an endoscope.
So really what we're trying to do is establish whether she's got an inflamed stomach lining or even perhaps some ulceration of the stomach or the upper small intestine. It's the kind of thing you see with Helicobacter infection that happens in people as well, and we know it happens in non-human primates. So we're just going to try and make a definitive diagnosis about what's going on and then treat her accordingly.
Before Nick gets started, he takes some blood samples to compare with those taken when Louis first arrived. Then it's time to begin the procedure. An endoscope is a long, thin tube passed into the body through a natural opening. Today, it's inserted via Louis's mouth.
It's quite a picture, isn't it?
Nick can view the images in real time on a big screen.
So, in esophagus, just, there we go. Just a bit of mucus there, but it doesn't look very inflamed, does it? So that all looks very normal, that's good. No sort of damage from reflux that I could tell.
But as the endoscope travels further along the esophagus towards the stomach, Nick spots something that gives him cause for concern.
So there's some inflammation there. Definitely be good to have a picture of that. So you can see there's areas of inflammation everywhere, actually. Little hemorrhages. Can't see any obvious actual ulcers, no. What I think I want to do is sample something like this.
Nick decides to take a biopsy. A tiny cable with a pair of pincers on the end is carefully inserted down the endoscope.
Go advance now. Come back slightly, sorry. Oh, there we go. Lovely. Yeah, definitely got something there, got a little bit of bleeding. Perfect. So that can go straight in formalin, which we've got here. So we're going to stop with the scoping. We've got the video and we've got some pictures that haven't we as well.
Nick takes a second biopsy from another site.
It's gone, yeah, I can see it in the bottom. Perfect. I think we're going to fail to get into the intestine, but that's okay because we've seen some really obvious lesions in the stomach. Yeah. What's causing them, we're not quite sure.
With the procedure done, Nick gives Louis a quick overall health check.
She's definitely put muscle on.
Yeah.
It's great because she's gained weight, but she doesn't look fat at all.
No.
He also weighs her.
2.46. Oh, a little bit more.
The biopsies will be sent to a laboratory for analysis.
It looks like a fairly severe gastritis to me, but not obvious gross ulceration. But the other is just because we could do some further testing to see whether we culture anything or find anything by PCR, an infectious agent like Helicobacter that could be causing it. Obviously, they're small samples, but we can't take anything much bigger than that. But I suspect that getting her on the drugs to reduce the gastritis is the best thing we can do because it'll stop the pain anyway. It's like taking out an infected tooth. Once it's out, it's actually much better than having it instantly.
Louis is returned to the Capuchin Lodge to recover. Next on Nick's list will be Patus monkey Penelope. Over the last few months, life at the Stumpy House has seen dramatic changes. The group had become fractious, leading to the primate care team having to split them up. For everyone's safety, the rowdy boys have been separated from the girls and from each other. Today, the three females, Sylvie, Kelly and Noreen, are being given the run of the outdoor enclosure, while the boys remain inside. To keep them engaged, Toby is putting out mobile puzzle feeders. They were successfully trialled with a group of capuchins last month, and he's keen to see if the larger and less agile macaques can work them out too.
Basically, I'm going to put their breakfast and maybe a little bit of honey just to make it a bit more challenging in the Kongs. And because the boards move, it's just a bit more of a challenge for them to actually retrieve the food. Might get them sort of up on their back legs a bit and just using some muscles they wouldn't usually use.
The primate care team have to think carefully before providing the Stumpies with something new.
The problem we have with the Stumpies and in giving them enrichment is that they will eat a lot of the things that we would use for the other primates on the park, things like socks, pillowcases, sacks, rags, paper, boxes. These are great enrichments for everything else, but for a Stumpy, it's just basically extra dinner. So we have to use the more robust toys with the Stumpies. Things like Kongs are quite good. We also have to be very aware with the females in the group that there is differing levels of ability. Sylvie's very agile, very mobile. She can climb, she can be all over everything. Whereas Kelly and Noreen aren't so much. And particularly as Sylvie is now dominant, we don't want her hoarding all the food. So it's trying to find a balance by making these in a challenging place for Sylvie, but also making them accessible for Kelly and Noreen so that they can reach them.
Toby is hoping the sweet corn, pea and honey concoction he's come up with will keep the girls busy and, more importantly, happy.
Come on then, girls. No trouble.
Sylvie is first out. She's the smallest and youngest of the three females, but she more than makes up for it in character. She's relishing her new role as dominant female. A feeder catches her eye. Sylvie is a great climber, not a common skill among the park's macaques. She shimmies up the tree with ease, showing great core strength and agility. Controlling the moving board isn't easy, but Sylvie steadies herself with her strong feet so she can reach into a Kong, deftly grabbing the peas and sweet corn inside. Noreen is less agile and decides against trying to access a feeder from above. Instead, she goes for an easier option, a low-hanging feeder, which she can reach by standing on a log. It still gives her back legs a workout as she reaches for the food. Kelly isn't tackling the feeders, foraging in the grass instead. She's in her 30s, a geriatric old lady, and has never liked climbing. Hanging feeders are too much of a challenge. The elderly macaque's life has been turned upside down in recent months.
Kelly was quite a nice dominant female. She didn't really bother anyone else unless she really needed to step in, and she was generally quite fair. Sylvie, on the other hand, is a little terror. She is mean to Kelly and Noreen at times for no apparent reason. Part of it is probably the fact that Noreen was mean to her for years and she's just getting her revenge now for years of Noreen being dominant over her. But also I think she feels she has to prove herself a bit, which is sort of not helping her behaviour. So she will chase them and bite them at times for no reason. So giving them space and keeping them busy is the best thing, really. And anything that keeps Sylvie occupied and out of trouble is good.
And while Sylvie has her back turned, Noreen takes advantage, defying her years and climbing the tree like a youngster. It wasn't worth the effort. The more dominant female has emptied the first easy-to-reach Kong. Eventually, Kelly is motivated to join in.
We do want her to be mobile and active. It's good stimulation for her brain and it's good for her to be using her muscle groups. So I think today's sort of enrichment has sort of found quite a nice balance. Kelly was having to reach up and do a bit of exercise on it, but also the one in the tree challenged Sylvie and also Noreen and made them go that little bit further and work that little bit harder.
Today's challenge has been a success, and harmony reigns among the girls, who've now established their new hierarchy. But what happens when the care team put the whole group back together is anyone's guess. Six months ago, the park rescued a pair of patus monkeys. The female, Penelope, is far more nervous than her partner, Mr. Patus. It's taken a while for her to settle into her new life and for the primate care staff to earn her trust. Today presents the first opportunity the team have had to arrange a thorough health check for nervy Penelope, courtesy of wildlife vet Nick Masters.
We're just not sure of her history at all, and we'd like to establish a few things. A, roughly what we think her age might be, whether she's got any underlying health issues or not. We've definitely got a question mark over her teeth, so we're going to look carefully in her mouth at those and the rest of her mouth.
Nick begins to intubate Penelope, which reveals her first issue.
Oh my goodness, she's got some horrible teeth. So we'll come back to look at those properly in a bit.
When she arrived at the park, Penelope was treated for parasites. The team noticed she was suffering from small bouts of rectal bleeding. Using the specialist equipment set up earlier for Capuchin Louies endoscopy, Nick hopes to rule out anything sinister.
So that all looks very nice and clean. We saw a little wispy bit of blood back there, but I think that's from me messing around. So can't see anything nasty so far. So I don't know what that was causing that. Could have been parasites, yeah, that's good. Fantastic.
But there's no scarring or anything?
No, can't see anything untoward. Oh, it looks really nice, doesn't it? There we go. Brilliant. Thanks very much. There you go. Worth waiting for. All looks great.
It's good news, and Nick can move on with the rest of the examination. He takes blood samples and checks Penelope's legs and joints.
Everything moves as it
Feet look
should.
okay.
Nothing's...
Got all her digits. Yeah, she's got some fairly sort of hard pads, calluses on her feet, so she's not young.
But joints and everything feels...
Yeah, it feels good, doesn't it?
Not creaky.
No. Ooh, let's do x-rays. I think dental's going to take a little while. Yeah.
The vet team take a number of x-rays. Due to Penelope's lack of medical history, they have no earlier records with which to compare them. But Nick spots something straight away.
She's got incredible spinal arthritis. Yeah. So she's not young, and I don't know how mobile she is, but that would explain any kind of general lack of mobility.
The Patus monkey will be given medication to help ease this condition. Next, it's time to tackle Penelope's rotten teeth.
So there are a lot of teeth to come out here. I'm just going to start.
OK.
With so many bad teeth, Nick is going to work on just the left side for now.
So I've taken out that lateral incisor. Not quite sure what's in there.
The cause of so much decay could be Penelope's poor diet before she arrived at Monkey World.
They're so diseased and infected, they're almost falling out. So I'm just loosening them, breaking down that bit of ligament that's left that I talked about, and then extracting them. So in some ways it's good that they're this diseased to get them out. It does mean that, I think it sounds like you're doing it already, but you're going to have to manage your food presentation for her at least. But much better that this is all removed.
In all, Nick removes 8 rotten teeth.
Cool. So, I think we're done with all the dentistry on the left side.
Penelope has now been under anaesthetic for 90 minutes.
She's an old lady, we now know. That's quite a lot of work that I've done. It will have disturbed all sorts of bacteria. I'd like all of that to heal before doing the other side and know that she can eat pretty well on the healed side, now her left, before we do the same to her much less affected, for some reason, right side.
Hopefully the discomfort she's been experiencing will dissipate and Penelope will be able to eat more easily. Now they know she's elderly, with infected teeth and spinal problems, the primate care team will make adaptations to her diet and enclosure. But they've done as much as they can today without risking her life. At the Capuchin complex, Sonny's group of 19 are about to discover their next meal comes with a workout. Donna and the primate care team are busy putting freshly cut bamboo browse in their enclosure. Spreading it around the platforms and in high-up, more hard-to-reach areas. They're also distributing fibre-rich plantain amongst the foliage.
We're just going to put them in whole because it's way more exciting for the capuchins. It's not very often that they get whole food, so that in itself is a type of enrichment. And then we're going to hopefully spear the plantain onto the bamboo. So it's quite a natural way of feeding for them, and they have to search for it and, again, try and reach and sort of pull the bamboo over towards them to try and get the food.
Plantain is a superfood, full of vitamins and minerals with a lower sugar content than the everyday bananas many of us eat.
So visually, the plantain looks very similar to a banana. The skin is probably quite similar, so they should be able to get into the fleshy bit. But yeah, the fruit inside is much tougher. So hopefully it's going to take them a little bit longer to devour, so that will increase their feeding time, which is really great. It's nice to try and keep them nice and busy. So yeah, it's going to be interesting really to see how much they enjoy it and whether they actually can get inside.
The Capuchins haven't had plantain before, so it'll be interesting to see how these very clever monkeys tackle the task. Sonny's is a mixed age group, and some of its members have mobility issues, while others have dexterity problems as a result of missing digits. However, the enclosure is designed with that in mind, and they've all developed ways of accessing their favourite spots. Bruce manages to negotiate the high hoses with the plantain, but has his hands full, so uses his tail to aid his balance. Jenny's doing it the conventional way, peeling her plantain. Mushroom bashes hers on the platform to try and soften the flesh, making it easier to eat. It's a form of tool use seen in wild capuchins. Sonny is the dominant male of the group. Despite his strength, he struggles to free a plantain speared on the bamboo. Instead of persevering, he looks for easier pickings and finds a piece of plantain discarded by one of the others. He may be top man, but the girls in this group are a force to be reckoned with. Scrapper is a good example. Her sharp canines help her tear through the outer skin of the plantain to get to the nutritious centre. But there's one girl who has every right and every reason to take it easy.
So Terry is very easily recognisable within the group, mostly because she's a really different shape to a lot of the other individuals. And a lot of that is a result of being kept in a small bird cage in someone's living room in Hackney. So that has developed really severe rickets, and so she doesn't really have hardly any movement within her spine at all.
Terry was rescued 21 years ago by Alison and her late husband, Jim Cronin.
Well, well, well.
Hey, sweetie.
The capuchin had been living in a parrot cage in a family's living room. She was crippled with rickets from lack of sunlight and a poor diet. But despite all that, she showed a real determination to enjoy life at the park.
Terry is just a real character. She's been here at the park for about 20 years now, so she's, you know, one of our longer serving primates. And so obviously all the primate care staff and a lot of the visitors do know her. She does react quite a lot to people that she knows as well. So you'll get a lot of flirting behaviour from her, which is very unique in Terry's style. And yeah, she's just a real lovely capuchin, really. She does have her moments where she likes to have a tantrum if you've given her the wrong treat. But yeah, she gets on really well in the group and everybody absolutely adores her.
The capuchins who've really risen to this morning's challenge are the robustus ladies, Dot, Lizzie and Jill. All three were wild caught, so climbing and being up high comes naturally to them, despite their later life in a laboratory. They used to be the dominant females in the troop, but age has caught up with them and they're not as formidable as they once were. But along with the rest of Sunny's group, the three girls have taken an interest in today's breakfast workout.
Yeah, it seemed to go really well this morning. They weren't as excited as I thought they would be, considering they looked like bananas and it was something that they'd never had before, but maybe that's just because there was an element of uncertainty about what they were going to get. But they all seem to be really enjoying it. They have got most of it, but there's still a few bits and pieces around that hopefully they'll get later on in the day. But they've had it first thing in the morning, which is nice, so it means they've got all day now to forage for the rest of it, and hopefully it'll keep them nice and busy.
Next time on Monkey Life. How to move more than 30 capuchins in a day as the team tackle a big house swap.
We have to make sure that all the right slides are open and closed to make sure that nobody goes to the wrong place.
And the bouncy Gwenons try out their revamped home.